Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
The energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, reppin' both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire, misunderstood. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city sand lights to the skyline greens, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. Rob hype on the mic, CP's the fire spark. Together they ignite, voices like the park. Fans drift in jerseys, legacy bold. The Metropolitan story forever told. Turnstile spinning, the crowd floods the gates. This is family, no time for debates. Crack of the Batman, the roar never fades. Queens in the blood, it's how champions are made. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline gleams, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. 7-line swagger, vibes electric and wild. Mets legacy golden since I was a child. Orange crushed skies, let the battle ignite. Ride for the home team till the last fight.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the amazing Mets pregame show right here on the channel and on X. How is everybody doing on this lovely Monday, August 25th? And we're getting to the end of the dog days of summer and slowly but surely getting into that very, very interesting month of September. How's everybody doing, guys? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And guys, we are back during his 16-game stretch, now at home for the final 7-game homestand of basically almost his 7-game stretch, or the 16-game stretch, where the Mets really got a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, they're coming back with a little bit of sour taste in our mouths as Met fans, considering the fact that they had the opportunity to sweep the goddamn Atlanta Braves. Nothing would be nicer than to put those guys completely out of their misery, and we just put them on the back burners and they'll be in the rearview mirror. But the Mets couldn't do that. The pitching failed, the offense failed, everything failed on Sunday, and now we come back home 7 games behind the Phillies, as this series is going to determine if the Mets are still going to be a legitimate shot of that from that division, in this division. That's it. It is what it is. You take 2 out of 3, there's a slimmer chance. There's a little bit of simmer of hope to win this division if you take 2 out of 3. If you sweep, even better. But if you lose 2 out of 3 or get swept by the Phillies, not only do the Mets playoff chances look like they are slowly sliding out the window, but the division is probably most likely out of reach. And now you have to worry about maintaining that wild card spot just to make the playoffs, as it only was 2 months ago. The New York Mets were 20 games over 500. We're rolling. You know, an easy playoff appearance. I mean, it was just no question. And now we're questioning everything this team has done since June. And we're back to square one. We are back to square one. We're a game and a half up in the third wild card in front of the Cincinnati Reds. Again, 7 games back of the Phillies. And nothing is running on all cylinders. When the offense is doing good, the pitching sucks. When the pitching is doing good, the offense sucks. They have not come together as a team and do it together all season. It's either been the pitching carrying us or the offense carrying us. When is this team going to put it all together, if at all? If at all. I mean, it's not like we got like 3 months to go in the season. We got 32 games to go. We got a month, 5 weeks of a season left. 5 weeks. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say anymore. There's so many different frustrations that everybody can talk about, and it's going to lead right into the same trap all of us Met fans have fallen into, right? When you think they're back, they kind of push you back a little bit and say, no, not yet. When you think it's over, they push you back in and say, hey, it's not over yet. It is the exact same thing that Met fans have been dealing with. year after year after year. Even if they have expectations or no expectations, they find a way to pull you back in at some point during the season saying, hey, we might be back. We might do this here. This might be a season here. And then it goes back to the same old story once again. And for all the people that don't think history repeats itself, it does until you actually change it. Right? Last year, with no expectations, with all the good things they did, people started to say, hey, we slayed that dragon of the Atlanta Braves, making the playoffs by beating them. And that should have slayed the dragon. That should have turned a new leaf over for the New York Mets organization. And it didn't. All it did was make us happy for a few more weeks, that we can feel accomplished about something that should have never happened last year with the lack of expectations. And with those lack of expectations last year, it allowed Met fans to agree with David Stearns not doing what he needed to do last year at the trade deadline, where he was saying, well, we had to evaluate our farm system. It wasn't smart to trade our prospects to get better guys in here to help this team, either in the starting and the pitching department or, elsewhere other than in the bullpen. Get a better bat than Jesse Winker. Get a more of a bullpen arm than goddamn Paul Blackburn. But once again, right, we fell for that little propaganda speech that David Stearns loves to give, especially when things are going wrong or Met fans are, up in arms. This is what he does. He continues to do it, and you can talk all we want about these pitching prospects, all we want. We've lived this story before. We have. I know people love to forget. And again, telling me history don't repeat itself is a laughing argument, because it makes so much sense. Like, we've seen this story before. I was extremely young with Generation K in the 90s. I was extremely young. So I didn't live those times, the Wilsons, the Israelhausens, the Pulsivers. I didn't live that, right? Obviously, Jason Israelhausen became a really good pitcher and, a closer later in his year, and then eventually ended his career with the Mets, basically. But that was supposed to be the beginning. That was supposed to be the next chapter in the Mets pitching. Is this going to be a good one again? Is this going to be that? All that nonsense that went on. And it kind of blew up in the Mets' face. Then it took all those years, 20 years later, in 2015, 2013, 2014, 2015, where you saw Harvey and Matz and Syndergaard and Matz and all these guys, Jacob deGrom, all these guys, that was Generation K 2.0. And that lasted 2 years with a lot of these guys. A lot of them were injured. Some of them weren't pitching as well. Matt Harvey was still on his bender. And, then he had thoracic outlet syndrome. And then it just started to fall apart from there. But the one shining hope was Jacob deGrom and Zach Wheeler, right? They lasted a little longer. And the Mets and the Wilpons didn't want to pay Zach Wheeler for whatever reason. And obviously the quote was, they didn't think he was going to be, as good as he was prior with the Mets and continue that success. And we obviously clearly seen more success with the Phillies than he probably ever had with the Mets. So that was Generation K 2.0. Now we're falling for the propaganda once again of Generation K 3.0. Now, I am not telling you that Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat are going to follow in the footsteps of a failed Generation K again. I'm not saying that, right? It's not fair to these kids. But that is David Stearns' fault. Right? When the Mets were going, see, here's the problem. This is the problem that I have. When it was Generation K in the 90s, right? The Mets weren't very good. They were trying to build something. They were trying to build a farm system, an organization, a better team, right? They weren't very good. So they were building from within. When you're not good, you should build from within. The problem with the New York Mets is, and the same thing goes for 2015, 2013, 2014, 2015, the Mets weren't very good. So you could build up the farm system and build up these players and work their way up to the majors, because you're not playing well. So what is the point of, trying to buy this veteran or get this veteran, do something at the trade deadline? It doesn't make sense. But when you have expectations, when you have a contending team, you don't play around with what ifs. What if these guys are good? You don't got time for that. You're putting rookies and prospects, because they're still prospects, in big situations. And Nolan McLean has looked great. Maybe Jonah Tong will too. Maybe Brandon Sproat will too. But when it comes down to it, David Stearns put them in this situation. He didn't plan this, clearly. He did not plan this. He thought, his smarts and wisdom would overcome any type of talent these guys actually have when it comes to Clay Holmes and Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga and Griffin Cannon and so on and so forth. That is the problem. Yeah, CD, it is a party pooper, because the Mets don't deserve any type of party. They deserve a party pooper. They don't deserve a party. They deserve a party when they actually do something worth it. How many more years are we going to have when we have expectations and we fail in those expectations? We went to the NLCS last year with no expectations. There was no pressure on this team. Didn't we hear JD Martinez talk about this with the clubhouse multiple times when they had meetings? Basically said it to the media. There's no pressure on us. Everybody expects us to lose. So there's no pressure on them. The same thing goes for 2015. There was no pressure on that team. Nobody expected anything. 2016 was supposed to be the year they made that big jump. Same thing in last year. It wasn't 2024. That was a transition year. Remember that word? That was a fun word to use. It was supposed to be this year. But now, because now we have the high expectations. We landed Juan Soto. We brought back Pete Alonso. And, we brought back Sean Manaea that everybody couldn't wait to have back as their ace of the staff. And he's just collecting a beautiful paycheck and pitching like shit. And, oh, by the way, availability matters. He wasn't available for this team. So that's a failure within itself. So there you go. And Tim, how you doing, buddy? Yeah. I don't even know what to say about this. We're expecting Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat to be the difference makers here when, Ryan Helsley basically is pitching to a 10 ERA. Brazaban is back from the minors. Gregory Soto finally gave up a couple of runs. Tyler Rogers is used every single day. What else you want to talk about? You want to talk about the Mets had Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil up with opportunities to tie or take the lead, and they both popped up to win the game yesterday and squashing all chances of sweeping the Braves. I mean, there's a lot of things here. There's a lot. David Peterson, as good as he's been, he failed yesterday. He had a 2-0 lead that he relinquished and gave up. That's on him. So, what is there to party about? What is there to talk about that's good, right? Nolan McLean can't pitch every day. He pitches every 5th day. That's it. Oh, in the Mets case, every 6th or 7th day, because that's what they like to do. So, they don't want to pitch these guys on normal rest. They don't have a choice because of the 16-game stretch that they're currently in. So, David Peterson, normal rest, failed. And don't tell me he didn't. I don't care about the line. We watched him pitch. He blew a 2-0 lead. Failure. Right? That's number one. Number two, we got Mr. Kodai Senga, Mr. Soft tissue injury waiting to happen. And, I got a lot of nicknames for him. I should patent these because these are good shirts, right? I need 7 days of rest before I can pitch, but I can't tell you if I'm going to pitch well because, that's not part of my job, right? I get $12, $13, $14 million and I don't pitch well, but I need 7 days off. And, you got to follow these rules because if you don't, I'm not very good. So what are we expecting from Kodai Senga today? I don't know. Probably a shit show. You know why? Because you don't pitch well on regular rest. Now, maybe he'll surprise us. And that would be nice, right? That would be a pleasant surprise. But his next time out, he'll pitch, in September 4th. Because that's what they do. So I just don't understand. I don't understand the plan. I don't understand the logic. I don't understand anything that's going on in this organization that makes any sense. I just don't. I just don't. You know, crazy things can happen in the playoffs. We've seen it with the Mets last year. The Mets weren't a very good team. They just happened to gel together, and they just played extremely well. Like, if you look at the roster, you had a utility backup in Jose Iglesias that took the team by storm. You have Francisco Lindor having a MVP season. You have Alonso having a terrible year in a contract year. McNeil having a terrible year. Alvarez wasn't even a thought. You had Luis Stearns behind the plate. You know, you had Brandon Nimmo in left field basically hanging on by a thread. You had, JD Martinez, that was the DH that everybody couldn't wait to have, and he was a shell of himself. Like, there wasn't a lot of good that came out of a team that shouldn't have been that good. How they were, I don't know. But that just shows you how much luck you need to do what they needed to do last year. The luck is gone. It's just that simple. The luck is gone. Now the players actually have to perform. And they haven't done that. Yeah, CD, I'm in a grumpy mood. You know why? You know what? It was an off day for me. I didn't have to work. I was comfortable. I slept a little later, and that's something that's very rare. Yeah, I'm angry because this team makes me angry. How are you a Met fan and not angry? Like, I'm not talking about going through, walking to the grocery store and looking angry and somebody says, hey, you okay? Like, no, my Mets suck. No, I'm not telling you to have an outburst in the middle of, Whole Foods. But you should be mad about this team. This team should be one of the better teams in baseball. You don't have a $326 million payroll and be fighting for a playoff spot for a wild card. Like, I'm sorry. That's not acceptable. Like, why are we okay with mediocrity? Met fans have fallen in this little bubble of mediocrity, and we accept it. Why? Don't you pay a lot of money to watch, to pay for cable, MLB.TV if you don't live in New York, or go to games on the road or at home? How many Met fans are going to be there tonight? It's going to be a pretty damn good crowd. It's a nice day. It's, school's just about to start in New York, if some didn't already. Like, I mean, it's time. Like, it's just, like, seriously, like, season tickets went up to the highest it ever done in team history, right? Playoff tickets are already outrageous. Have you seen, like, prices because some people already put their tickets that they know they're going to have up for grabs for, like, Tip Pick and StubHub? They're going for $400 for a wild card. And nobody is upset? Like, this is a disaster. This isn't fun at all. It's not. I'm sorry. Like, it's not acceptable. And if you believe it is, you are the ones that are feeding right into that goddamn David Stearns propaganda. I swear, the Mets are run like a communist country. It's David Stearns has to be there at every moment to say, hold on, guys. It's my team. I'm the smartest one. I'm the dictator. I tell you that, hey, look at the deadline. Don't really look at the deadline because, don't worry about that, right? We still got Minaya. We still got Senga. Those are deadline acquisitions since they came right before the All-Star break and played again. This is what he does. And you continue to act like it's okay. And then the same people that are going to complain at the end of the year why we lost is the same people that continue to talk about what they didn't want to give up at the deadline. Because, honestly, how many guys are going to have this rotation next year? 10? Like, not Mingo. It is propaganda. It's 100% propaganda, right? Name another GM that came on live during a media session to talk about the trade deadline 30 minutes after it was over. There was not one GM, one president of the baseball ops, or any goddamn executive that went on a half hour after the trade deadline. There was still trades getting announced, and David Stearns was talking to the media 30 minutes after the deadline. Yeah, but Mingo, no. See, that's wrong because there was an expectation in Milwaukee. They made the playoffs 7 out of 8 years. Like, it's not like they didn't make the playoffs. There was expectation. Just because you don't have the media capital of the world in New York doesn't mean there ain't expectations from an owner, from a fan base. You don't think Milwaukee got a good fan base? I mean, they're all Green Bay Packer fans. You don't think they demand greatness? Of course they do. No, Mingo, he didn't have to answer to us. What he tried to do was right away, the first question was, well, what about the prospects? Oh, well, we do have our internal options in McLean, and, talking about all these guys. He talked about Tyler McGee. He talked about Paul Blackburn, who's not on this team anymore. No, I don't think media makes a difference. I think he spills a bill of goods and does the exact opposite. He failed this year. He failed. He failed in the offseason. He told you that just because Sean Manaea and Luis Severino, who actually had a past of good pitching and solid pitching. I mean, Luis Severino was a Cy Young candidate years ago, but he was a really good pitcher at one point. Sean Manaea, the same thing. So telling me the pitching lab fixed those guys is hilarious because Luis Severino can't stop giving up home runs in Sacramento. And Sean Manaea, number one, is hurt. And number two, can't get out of the fifth inning. So no, I'm sorry. He didn't do well. He told you Clay Holmes is a starter who is actually a relief pitcher. Griffin Cannon, nobody even gave a shit about. And he gave, $11-12 million to. And he's hurt. So, no, he failed. His plan was never to bring up these kids. The rotation was so bad because of David Stearns. There was options. And if you tell me there wasn't, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. There was options in the offseason. There was a Garrett Crochet possibility. But God forbid you give prospects up. Because I know everybody's going to see all these prospects next year. Because I know, it's going to be Vientos and Beatty at third base together. Like, Vientos is going to stay on the bag. And Beatty's going to play a little bit off the line. At shortstop, I mean, you might as well put Mauricio and Acuna next to Lindor. Maybe we'll be able to control that left side of the infield. Hey, at second base, don't forget Jet Williams and Jeff McNeil. I mean, they can hug at second base together. What about center field? I don't know. Jose Siri. You know what? Come on down. Hey, Ryan Clifford, I know you're a corner outfielder, but go to center field. Why not? Hang out with Jet Williams a little bit. Hang out with anybody, Jose Siri over there. He likes to dance. Hey, Pete Alonso, let's give you a 5-year deal since you basically failed this team, even though you're the face of the franchise, but you failed this team. You won nothing. But hey, you got the home run record. Hey, I'm excited. Well, Mingo, if he's not scamming, then he thinks he's better than he is. Because it's got to be one of them. Because there was no expectation last year. So there was no demand for David Stearns to do anything. There was way too many people accepted what he did at the deadline. Like, well, he's evaluating. It's a transition year. Like, why do we just assume that last year is going to happen again? Because we did that in 2015 and it was the same bullshit. Oh, we'll be back. That's the conversation. Like, non-expectation years like 2015 and 2024 are surprise years. There isn't expectations like there was this year. There was more expectation in 2016 than there was going into 2015. Like, it's ridiculous. It really is. And everybody keeps on falling for it. Like, everybody's excited that we didn't give up any of our top 6 prospects. Why? 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 Why are you excited about that? Why? Because of 2026? We do have 2025 still to play. If anybody forgets. We do got 32 games to go here. And if the Mets make the playoffs, nobody knows who's pitching game 1 because we don't have a real actual ace. Nobody can say definitively, hey, he's my ace. He's my guy going game 1. And Mingo, whose fault is that? Is that this core that we've constantly complained about? But hey, you gave Nimmo 7-year deal, 8-year deal. I'm glad he's happy. Got paid as a center fielder, and now as a left fielder, and now he's going to be in a wheelchair in 3 years. A failed catcher in Francisco Alvarez because availability matters. He got hurt again. Top prospect in all of baseball. The guy is useless because he doesn't play. Mark Vientos finally showing some life, but it would have been nice if he showed it 3 months ago when we were struggling to find a third baseman. But hey, it's okay. He's doing it now when the Mets are falling apart. That's nice. Right? All the years Pete Alonso padded his stats when the Mets were out of contention. I guess that don't matter, right? Well, let's not blame Pete Alonso for the disaster and the choke jobs that we had in 2019 and 2022. Let's not blame him, even though he was terrible down the stretch, right? It's the same thing. It's the love affair that we have with these players, and they give us nothing in return. Like, go buy the home run record t-shirt with the polar bear on it. Congratulations, because you ain't going to get a championship shirt or a hat or a banner. You're just not. Like, this is the problem with Met fans. It's the same thing with David Wright. We all love David Wright, right? His career got stopped short because of the neck injury. We all know that, right? It's not all his fault, right? Shit happens. But he was a part when he was he was the best player on your team. He was a big part of the 07 and 08 choke job. Like, nobody wants to talk about that. David Wright talked about that in the last time he spoke during his ceremony. When it came to that, he talked about it more than Met fans. CD, who am I pleased with? Let's see. Starlin Marte. Everybody wanted him gone. The guy was always a starter in his career. Basically got pushed to the side because of the outfield configuration of the Mets, and basically says, here, you're on the bench. We're not going to release you because we're making too much money. So we're just going to leave you on the bench. So the guy was put in a situation that he's never been in before at 36 years old, and says, hey, you got to be productive while you're in that role that you never been in. And guess what? He flourished. Who does that? Who did that in an uncomfortable situation? Vientos didn't. Beatty didn't. Acuna didn't. Mauricio didn't. You want me to keep on going forward? Like, no, Mingo, look, I love David Wright. But we treat him like he's royalty because he ended up as a career Met. Okay, that's cool. But what did he give us? Nothing. Gave us a hard ball over Bernie Williams' head to beat the Yankees, right? That was fun, right? That was another failed season. Who cared about that? Right? He was a bigger part of why we choked in 07 and 08. And Glavine had a lot to do with that. I agree. But it was 7 with 17 to play. That wasn't all had to do with one player. But David Wright, as the quote-unquote captain, failed as that team, with that team. And again, it's not an individual problem. But again, who gets the blame other than the face of the franchise at that time? And you know what? I would love to be DFA'd by Stearns, because at least I know he shows a pulse and he actually makes a move instead of making 47 bullpen moves throughout the entire season when his team's falling apart. He'd rather have options for players than actual good players, because he has to feel like he has to do something to show that he's working. Making 47 moves in the bullpen just shows that you didn't do good in your bullpen and you didn't get the good acquisitions. You didn't make the right moves. Why are you constantly changing bullpens every single day? And Mendoza has to look at the list and know the pitchers because he has no idea. So that's another stupid thing that he's done this year. You brought in guys who were often injured, who has mostly been failures, and you brought them in here on one-year deals that had options. So you can look like you're actually doing something positive when you're not. You're just manipulating the roster because it looks like you're doing something good. And Mendoza doesn't know who to use every night because, Joe Schmo was in the bullpen yesterday, but he got optioned down. And Joe Schmo number 2 is in the bullpen now. And now, oh, shit, Mendoza don't have nobody. I guess I got to use him. Sorry, I'm not excited. It doesn't excite me that our GM, our president of baseball ops, has failed again. Because we see this all the time. Like, it's okay for other teams to go out and trade their prospects and get better proven players. And when they start playing better than everybody else, and when they go deeper into the playoffs, and when they beat us in the playoffs, what are we going to say then? Oh, well, first they'll blame Soto because you have to, right? You got to blame Soto because that's everybody's, pet child or pet pig that you just have to beat up. Right? You're going to have to talk about Soto, God forbid. Right? Nobody will blame Pete Alonso because you can't do that now. I mean, don't blame Pete Alonso. I mean, just watch last year how many times I killed him and how much I got killed, right? Let's not blame Brandon Nimmo. He smiles. Easy now. Francisco Lindor will get killed a little bit because he's making a ton of money. But don't talk about $30 million to Pete Alonso. God forbid. Right? I mean, how else is he going to, live on the ice with the icebergs, right? I mean, come on. Easy now. Let's just stop. Let's just stop. It's unfortunate. And Boogie Woogie says Soto sucks. Yeah, what the pitcher? Yeah. Does he? Because he's been in your best bullpen arm since the acquisition. He's been our best. He finally gave up 2 runs. He's been our best bullpen arm. So no, you're wrong. It's sickening. And Patrick, can we admit Stearns is blundering? Yeah, he probably is. But you know what? That's David Stearns being smart. Again, smart guy. We need all the rotation up we can get, but let's just put a kid that you're developing, by the way. Everybody forgot about that part, right? They're developing him, because that's what the minors are for. Careful. I don't want to upset anybody that doesn't realize the minor leagues are for development and not just for kicks and giggles and bring up guys that are not ready consistently like the Mets do, and then we complain. But that's the problem. This is the problem. Everybody's going to blame Soto. Everybody's going to blame Lindor because they're making the most money, right? You can't touch Alonso because he's sacred. Brandon Nimmo is kind of the guy that, he's like the nerd in the classroom that nobody wants to beat up because you just feel bad for him. That's Nimmo, right? Jeff McNeil is having a better season. So nobody's going to, mess with him because, he's had a better season than anybody thought. Everybody wanted him off the team. Everybody's going to be like, well, you should have brought up Acuna and let him play every day, even though Acuna can't hit and can't walk. So his speed is useless. Let's see who else. Vientos, don't mess with Swaggy V, right? It's not his fault. It's not his fault because, the sunglasses and he's cool and all that fun stuff as well. So I understand. Be careful. So it's a lot of these gimmicks and a lot of these, stupid comments that the Met fans are going to make. I can write it on a piece of paper and I'll show you on October 5th when we're out of the playoffs what everybody's going to say, right? Everybody's going to blame Juan Soto. He's going to hit 40 home runs and 30 stolen bases, right? He is Juan Solo. We all know that. Yet Pete Alonso wouldn't have half his RBIs if Juan Soto hasn't got on. That's one thing. And again, he's got to get the hits. I agree with that. But Juan Soto is going to have more home runs than Pete Alonso. Isn't Pete Alonso supposed to be the home run guy? Or we're just not going to care about that, right? Can he hit 35 this year? Is that a wrong thing to say? No. So I'm sorry. It is the same nonsense that we're going to hear all the time, right? Met fans could not stand Lindor May of last year. He's not worth his money. He's overpaid, blah, blah, blah. And now you're singing My Girl. Wow, things change quickly. I'm sorry. It's the same bullshit over and over again. No, I'm not giving Soto a pass. I'm not saying he has been the best player on the team, but we're talking about the wrong things that kind of didn't really matter in why the Mets failed. It's true. I'm going at Pete because people act like Pete's not the face of the franchise. We got to stop everybody wasn't talking about Pete being the face of the franchise. Everybody was. So why does he get a pass? He's been a part of this team almost longer than everybody else except for who? McNeil and Nimmo? And he gets a pass. Why? Losing seasons should be number one guy you go after. The number one guy on this team, the face of the franchise, is Pete Alonso. If you say otherwise, then you are just trying to make an argument away from Pete Alonso. Right? When you're batting over 420, we're running the scoring position in May, and you're dropping down to 345, that's nearly a 90-point drop. That's a huge number from that time. And again, I can blame, look, it's a team effort. It's a team losing effort. But when you look at it deep down, this core has been the problem for years. And yet, let's give Nimmo a god-awful contract. You know, everybody keeps on wanting to sign Pete Alonso for a long-term deal because, you know, God forbid, you know, he doesn't come back, and now he's the home run king, and he's not even a Met anymore because, you know, that's what people will care about, right? Everybody's holding up David Wright signs, and, you know, it's not like there's a World Championship trophy on that sign. No, it's not. Like, we're going to be talking about Pete Alonso in the same situation. Yeah, well, Mingo, that's what I'm saying. Like if it was up to Stearns, Pete Alonso wouldn't be here. I don't even know if Juan Soto would be here, to be honest with you. Like, we all know this was Steve Cohen's guys that he wanted, and he brought them here. So I just don't know. Well, did Brodie Van Wagenen ruin his team? I mean, at least he had the balls to actually make a trade, thinking that it would help this team. Unlike Stearns, he makes moves just to make sure that, you know, everybody knows that he's there. Like, I didn't like that PCA for Javier Baez move. I didn't, because I didn't think the team was good enough. But I can tell you one thing. Brodie Van Wagenen would made a better move than David Stearns did at this deadline. I'll tell you that much. So, I don't know. Ooh, Boogie Woogie Wankster, that's my song. Hey, you know what, though? Marcus Stroman, when he came out, when the Mets traded for him in, what was it, 2022 or 3, whatever it was, he came out to that song when he pitched on the mound the first time. So that was kind of cool. That was one of my favorite songs in high school. So that's cool. Window Shopper, hey. Candy Shop, hey. Sorry, guys. We're in the club. One of the best. I'm sorry, guys. We're going 50 Cent area now. So, well, easy. We shouldn't. Like, why are we bitching and moaning that let's not give a pitcher who has probably helped this team more than Pete Alonso a 6 or 7 year deal? But we're going to give Pete Alonso, who consistently has padded his stats his entire career. And again, go back last year when Chris talked about his year, when he broke it down, and just look at the pure, like, stupidness of his year, where he'll have 2, MVP months. And then the other 4, it's like, eh. But yet you look at the numbers and you're like, at the end of the year, you're like, oh, it's a good season, right? And the same thing's going to happen with Juan Soto. And I'm going to be the first one to say, well, keep that same attitude when you have with Pete Alonso that you have for Juan Soto. Because technically he's had, what, a month and a half of MVP caliber month? After that, he's been average. But at the end of the day, he's going to have 40 home runs, 30 stolen bases, probably 90-something RBIs, and it's going to look like a really good season. So this is the problem that I get annoyed about. The same way people are talking about Juan Soto, they weren't doing last year with Pete Alonso. It's a very similar season. Average is down. You know, obviously home runs are up for Juan Soto, but that's not Juan Soto. Juan Soto should be hitting 40 home runs. Like, he shouldn't. That's not his game. But if you look at it, the way he's going about it, at the end of the day, Juan Soto's going to have nice numbers at the end of the year. Same thing like Pete Alonso. The numbers don't look bad. Like, a lot of people said, how are you going to have, 31 homers and 90 RBIs? You're going to say that's bad. No, it's bad for Pete Alonso. Just like this year is bad for Juan Soto compared to what we're used to. The energy is not the same. I think he has like 103 walks. Juan Soto. And again, that's the other thing. Like, the most stolen bases in Juan Soto's career is this year. At least he's doing something different. At least when he's not doing something good in one area, he's doing something better in another area. At least. If Pete Alonso don't hit home runs, what is he good for? Right? He still can't throw to a base. Like, I don't know where, like, and yeah, I think something is off with Juan Soto. You know what it is? He played at Yankee Stadium last year and became a complete pull hitter, which he's not. And on top of that, his average is down, and I think that annoys him. I do. He's not a 250 hitter. He's a 285 hitter in his career. And yeah, Reed Garrett is on the IL with an inflamed right elbow. So, I mean, let's just keep it going, guys. Let's go. Let's just. I mean, who is this guy that we just brought in to replace Reed Garrett? I mean, another one is Stearns' masterpieces that probably has a salary of like $75,000 from the minor leagues. Like, I mean, come on, like Jesus Christ, like I'm so sick of like this team. It's not even the team. It's not even the team because I blame the players because ultimately they got to get the job done. But man, it's just so annoying that there's so much that could have been done differently, and it's just not cared enough. It's not cared enough. Like the prospect huggers are going to get mad at the end of the season when the Mets don't win, and then they're going to X, Y, and then they'll blame everybody else, but the guy that should have been blamed all the time is David Stearns. Yeah, CD, I understand his attitude and energy is totally different, but again, we have to understand something, right? This is his first big contract, right? He was playing on a rookie deal for his entire career. This is the first time a team has paid him a tremendous amount of money to be one of the parts of this team for a long time. Like, if that doesn't change you, you're not human. Like, I truly feel like he's trying to do too much. I mean, it's obvious the way he's been swinging as hard as he can a lot of times in situations where he's not that type of player. Like, he never overswings. This year, he overswings in almost everything. He's trying to hit a 5-run home run with one man on base. Like, that's what he's doing. So, yeah, I think the contract changes somebody. Yeah, I don't care how cool he think he is or act like he did. Look, he didn't run out bases with the Yankees either. He made a lot of stupid plays defensively with the Yankees. He didn't run the base. He didn't run hard when he was with the Padres. He did it at times with the Nationals. Yeah, I know, CD. I know, but you know what? Can you blame him? I know he was being honest there. Like, again, we don't want him to be honest. You want him to lie and say, I'd rather have Pete Alonso behind me? I mean, come on. Seriously? Who would you want behind you in the batters in the lineup? Judge or Pete Alonso? Like, I mean, come on. Like, even Met fans aren't that stupid to say, oh, Pete Alonso. I mean, some will because, God forbid. Easy. Thank you. I said that the other night. I said it the other night when I was watching the game where they would not pitch to Juan Soto. They'll pitch to Pete Alonso. They did it yesterday. And they did it a couple of games ago. They're still walking Soto. They're still pitching around him to get to Pete Alonso. That's crazy. For somebody who is not having a great season in Juan Soto, again, a Juan Soto year, not a great team. Because again, he's going to have 40 home runs and get 30 stolen bases. Like, somebody can't dream about that year in baseball. But for Juan Soto, it's not good. And I did, right? I don't know. I did so many shows, right? Thank you for reminding me. I said that yesterday. They actually walked Juan Soto. They pitched around him to get to Pete Alonso. So if Pete Alonso's having a better year that everybody's saying he has, why do they still not want to pitch to Soto, but still want to pitch to Pete Alonso? Like, that's a question that should be asked a little bit more. But we're not allowed to because Juan Soto is hated and Pete Alonso is loved. Right? On this channel, you'll get some real shit. And I know my boy Chris will do the same thing. So I am not going to lie to you guys and tell you, and I'm not going to spill you the goods that Met fans love to talk about. I'm just not. And again, I tell everybody this. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Like, if you want to live in the bubble of, sunshines and rainbows, go right ahead. But this team doesn't deserve that. A lot of these players don't. You know, if you want to care about individual records, great. I don't give a shit that Juan Soto hit 41 home runs for the Yankees last year. Honestly, I'm not even going to care if he hits 40 home runs for the Mets this year because I know that's not the player he should be. But he might lead the Mets in home runs, but nobody cares about that. But if Pete Alonso hit more home runs than everybody else, that's all they would talk about. Keep it the same. Keep the arguments the same. And that's why it's frustrating. Like, I'm not here to lie to you guys. I tell you that right now. Like, I could and make it sound better, but I'm not going to do that. And I know Chris doesn't do that either. And, you know, that's why I think me and him got a good relationship when we do shows. Like, we're not afraid to go back and forth with each other, right? If I don't agree with him, he don't agree with me, we're going to say it. And maybe it's the truth and maybe the reason why. And it's kind of funny. Like, I'll just tell you my demographic for the channel, right? My 18 to 34, you know how like in politics, 18 to 34 is like, you got to get that voter base, that younger base. And that, you know, that's how you win elections and all types of Congress, Senate, mayor, governor, all that, president, all that stuff, right? Same thing goes for YouTube. They give you a breakdown on your age demographic. My 18 to 34 is low. I'm just honest. And I'm in that bracket. So just think, 18 to 34, I'm like at like 11%. Now, I know I have a great answer for that. And I think that the younger generation don't like truth. They want to spin the truth where it makes them feel better. I'm sorry, I'm not that type of person. I tell you how it is. So my YouTube demographic is 35 and older. Like my big age bracket is like 51 to 54. And I think there's a reason for that. I think it is because the older generation, the baby boomers, the whatever was after the baby boomers, that's a little younger. I don't know what they're called. But they're the people that don't want to hear bullshit. And I think that's a fact. And you know, you guys can say your age if you want. I guarantee you're in the age bracket that I'm talking about, that you don't care about what's said. You just want the real shit. And that's what I try to give you. Like, you don't have to like it. So like, you don't have to. So like, again, guys, you don't have to talk about Wordy. You don't. If you want to say something to him, you can say it to his channel, right? I got nothing to say to him. Again, he's that younger generation. So that look, he got that base. That's cool, right? It's probably why he has over 30,000 subscribers, because he has a lot of that base, right? I'd like to get more subscribers. I'd like to, you know, make a hell of a lot more money on YouTube. Maybe I don't have to go to work every day, but I'm not going to be that guy. Like, I'm not changing myself for anybody. And this is how I always been with sports. I'm not saying in life, but in sports in general, right? I'm passionate, and I'm going to say how it is. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Yeah, well, Rock, that's what I just said. Like, I swear to God, if I would show you, like, I'm not lying to you guys. If you look at my demographic for YouTube, it's like, damn, I just don't, the younger generation does not like me. Whatever the Gen X, Gen Z, or whatever the hell after millennials were, because I think that's what I am. I forgot. I don't remember. I think I'm a millennial. Oh, no, I can't be a millennial. I don't know what the hell I am. I'm something. Gen Z. I don't know what the hell I am. I was born in the late 80s. So if you know that, great. But yeah, like I said, I think that's what it is. Like, I know that I'm going to be real with you. Like, if you meet me, and there's some people that's a subscriber, you know, the guy Sean, who I met in Pittsburgh this year, him and his wife, they were awesome. When I was still living in New York, he actually was coming down, because he lived upstate, and he was coming down to watch the Met games. He bought tickets for me to sit with him. Like, that's nuts. Like, that doesn't cross my, like, that doesn't register to me. Like, I don't expect that. I don't ask for that ever. Just like I don't ask for memberships. I don't ask for super chats. I don't ask for anything for you guys, right? I just say, if you want to come in, hang out. If you want to give a super chat, of course I appreciate it. You want to be a member, I appreciate that too. But I'm not forcing you guys. I never do that. I'm never that type of person. So when somebody actually, and also Sean, he sent me some magazines, bobbleheads. Like he brought a bobblehead to Pittsburgh to give to me, a Vientos bobblehead. Like who does that? That's insane. Like that's awesome. And I know he texted me last night when he was listening to the show about, the pictures, prospect pictures and all that fun stuff. But yeah, like it is amazing. Do you see do you think you can take him in an altercation, Rob? He seems scrappy. Who? Like we're talking about like fighting? I don't care about that. I don't care. I mean, he's younger than me. I mean, I do have a surgically repaired neck and a fucked up back. Like I kick him in the shin, but I don't care about that, guys. Like I don't. Like it's YouTube. Like I don't use that voodoo doll. You guys are funny. All right, let's go. And Jorge, I am talking about the game. I was talking about it. I was talking about the Mets. But people in the comments were talking about other stuff, so that's what we were talking about, right? Try to give the fan base what they want and what people want. But yes, the lineup today. Marte's in the lineup. I'm very excited about that. Mauricio's not, thank God. I can't stand Mauricio anymore. He's got to go. CD, I don't care. Like you can make your opinions. I just don't care. Like talk to him. No, I don't care. Like that don't upset me. Like that don't affect me at all. I don't care. So again, the lineup for the Mets is Lindor, Soto, Marte, Alonso, Vientos, playing third base, by the way. Nimmo batting sixth. Interesting. Playing left field. Tyron Taylor playing center field. I know that excites everybody. It excites me. I'd rather have a better defender than somebody who can actually hit, that needs to hit 225. Like, I just don't care. Give me good defense, and you can sit at the bottom of the lineup. Jeff McNeil batting eighth, playing second base. That's another weird one. I don't know why that's the case, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess it can try to help the bottom of the order. I guess that's what Mendoza's thinking. With the bottom of the order, with Taylor and Stearns, I guess put McNeil there. He's been hitting well. Let's see if he could spark the bottom of the lineup a little bit. That would be nice. Again, the Phillies are 7 games up right now, guys. I think the Mets have to sweep this series to actually talk about it, have a conversation about the division still being in play. Because again, if you sweep them, that knocks it down to 4 games with 29 games to go. That's strong a possibility. You lose 2 out of 3, you're 9 games out, or 8, right? 1, 2, yeah, 8 games out. So with 29 to go, it's not insurmountable, but it's kind of like, it's not good. It's not good. So Sanchez is on the mound. The Mets, it's kind of a hit or miss with Christopher Sanchez with the Phillies. Like, he's pitched well against the Mets and he's pitched bad against the Mets. What are you going to get? I don't know. We know he's got good stuff. He's got that hard sinker that is, he loves to throw. He loves to get in, let guys hit ground balls. That's his thing. Kodai Senga, honestly, guys, I just don't know. I really don't know. Like, look, am I going to root for this guy? Absolutely. He's wearing a Mets jersey. Like, I'm rooting for him to pitch 6 innings and give me 0 runs. Like, I want that. But I just don't feel confident when he's on the mound for whatever reason, right? His stuff is there, but I just feel like the hitters know what not to swing at. And that ghost fork isn't as effective as it was in 2023. They lay off of it, and they wait for that straight fastball that he throws. And that's the problem. And I think that's the biggest problem, even during the early parts of the season, because even though he was getting out of jams, he was allowing a lot of runners with walks, and he's still doing that. And again, you're going to continue to walk people. Eventually, those runners are going to come in. You can't get away with stranding those runners every single time. At some point, you're going to get burned. And Kodai Senga has been getting burned. And we can talk about the injury all you want. That dam was going to break. He's constantly walking 3 or 4 guys a game. That's a dangerous game to play. He's constantly getting into trouble. Now, it's always great, and it's a lot more, it's a lot more of a sigh of relief, but it's still like, you pump your fist when he gets out of a jam, but you realize it after the game. You're like, shit, it took 1 hit to blow open this game. and it would have been a terrible game. Like, he gets out of a lot of jams, but he also puts a ton of people on. That is not good when you're in the 4th to 5th inning and you have 80 pitches, and now you put guys on, and now the bullpen has to be perfect to save your ass. So his ERA, I think, is a bigger fluke than anything else, because how many times did he left the game in the 4th and 5th inning, leaving guys on base, and the bullpen either had to be perfect or they gave up runs, and they were registered to Kodai Senga. But at the end of the day, he made it a tough inning for the bullpen arm to be perfect. And I think that's tough. And I think that's not fair to the bullpen guys, because they get a lot of slack, and they should. But Kodai Senga puts a ton of men on base. And at some point, it's not going to work. And at some point, the dam's going to break. The runners are going to score, and they have been. And it would be nice if he shows something that I'm not expecting, and that is a really good performance, because we need it tonight. He's on regular rest. He hasn't done it all season. Hasn't done it since 2023, early in 2023. And I don't know what to expect on normal days rest. I expect, a disaster, but I would like to be pleasantly surprised. David Peterson on normal rest didn't do his job yesterday. They gave him a 2-0 lead. He was walking on the mound in the 6th inning with a 2-0 lead. He failed, and he lost. And he got tired. And that's another problem that we have to talk about in this week of games, where all these guys are going to be on normal rest, pitching the next couple of days. They haven't done it mostly all year. And you saw David Peterson basically lose all the steam and, basically get gassed. And it cost the Mets. It cost them the lead. And Kodai Senga, I just don't know. Like, he seems like he falls apart in the 4th to 5th inning. That's what he does. Like, he gets tired or whatever it is. He just can't go past it. Let's hope it's different. I hope so. I would like to talk. I can't do a post game, but tomorrow on the pregame, I would like to talk about, hey, Kodai Senga did really good today. Because I'm not against giving them credit. Trust me, I'm not. As I said, I'd rather be wrong than right and have the Mets win. I'd rather be wrong and have the Mets win than be right and the Mets lose. Like, that's not fun for nobody. Like, you think I want to be here complaining? I want to be happy. I want to be excited. Like, I'm already annoyed at work. Like, I don't need to come, watch the Met game and be annoyed. But they annoy me. Like, since I moved to North Carolina, I got lucky and have a bunch of coworkers that are New Yorkers and guys from New Jersey that are Mets fans, like a ton of them. I've had more Met fans in my job now currently in North Carolina than I did in New York. Like, that's crazy. And it just happens that I picked the right location in North Carolina where mostly Met fans are. That's insane. And they're all awesome. So, like, as soon as I go into work, it's either one of my bosses, it's either one of my coworkers. They'll be like, damn, the Mets suck. Like, I can't even get away from them at work. So it's like, it is what it is, guys. Like, next year is the 40th anniversary of the 86 Mets. Like, I wasn't born yet. I mean, most of you guys were, because my demographic on YouTube is you guys. So most of you guys are young, but born. I wasn't. Me and Hayden talked about it yesterday. We both weren't born. My dad was 20-ish, right? I think 20, 18, 19, something like that. But now he's an old man. He's retired. Like, he was just getting into the work life when the Mets won, and now he's retired. That's crazy. Like, do people understand how long that is? I wasn't even born yet. I mean, I was born a year after, and you understand my age now, but I wasn't born yet. Like, it's getting to the point where it's like, man, wouldn't it have been nice to win a World Series when you're still young and you can party? Now it's like, I want to have, a little bit of beer, and I'm out cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Yeah, we're all getting old, man, and it's frustrating. Like, I know these guys want to win. I know they try their hardest, but if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And it's okay to criticize players that you want to root for. And we all root for every one of these guys. There is not one guy you stand, like, if you're a Mets fan hoping for somebody to fail because another player you want to play, that you're not a fan. And I know there was somebody, and look, Wayne Chen, one of my coworker Met fans. That's one of them. So he's laughing because he knows. He knows. That's the first thing we talk about every day. We were at work. The first thing we see each other early in the morning. We always say, damn, the Mets suck or the Mets good. Like, we were hyped during the playoffs last year. Like, everybody wanted to go to work. It was great. It was fun. But, yeah, like, that's it. Yeah, Juan, I'm pushing it. I'm getting close, I tell you. But, yeah, my boy Wayne, like, we do it all the time. We get out of our car, heading into the building, and that's the first thing we talk about. Damn, man, Senga sucks. Or God, Juan Soto couldn't get that home run. That's all we talk. Like, we can't even be excited not talking about the Mets because we're there. And we talk about it at work, too. So it's crazy. Like, it's insane. And Wayne, I don't know if you work tomorrow, but I'll see you tomorrow. But it's like, yeah. Like, it's crazy to me how it works out. And I'm so mad about that. But it's a game and a series that the Mets got to wake up here. You're going back home. You got a 7-game homestand. Can you go 5-2, 6-1? I mean, we're allowed to do that, right? Like, that's not against the rules. Mets. Oh, well, Metsflix, you know what? My dad might. I tried it back in New York when I went over by him while we were still in New York. And for some reason, the Wi-Fi wasn't connecting perfectly and it didn't happen. And that was the one time I did. But yeah, again, we're splitting an image of each other. Like, just that he wears glasses and he looks older. But we look exactly like you. That's the way I'm going to look when I'm old. Like that exactly. But I get him on. I guarantee we can do it sometime. I don't know when, but sometime. Maybe this weekend. Maybe when the Mets are doing better. Because you think I'm bad? He's worse. He's with me right now. He's worse, man. I'm telling you. He's worse. Yeah, Ray, 100%. The wife beater. That's his thing. Man, that's his thing. I can't believe you remember that, but that's his thing, man. Like, where do you think I get it from? My dad's a Met and Jet fan. Like, he lives in misery. Like, he does. Now, luckily, I didn't choose the Jets. I chose the Cowboys, not much better, but at least I had the 90s. But even then, I was young. I didn't remember a lot of that. So, yeah, you know what? I'm telling you, you think I'm bad? Like, if the Mets are losing, you don't want to listen to him. You think I'm good compared to him. So he made me this way. Many years of suffering, man. So, but Netflix, I don't. But I'm assuming you're related to Chris, or I don't know. But that would be awesome. That'd be cool. I'm telling you right now. Mets, Jets, Devils. Well, Devils. I mean, come on. Oh, perfect. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Let's do that. Let's do a father-son show. Hell yeah. I mean, most people would probably hate me and my dad because, we're both this negative. I'll tell you that much. But come on, the Giants, man. You're a Giants fan, Devils fan. You got Stanley Cups and World Series and, Super Bowls. And I remember those. So, like, let's go. Yeah, hell yeah. I'd love to do that. A son and dad show? Hell yeah. Me, yeah. We do a pregame or just and Memphis, I absolutely do that. I think that would be awesome. That'd be great. Why not? We all live in misery. All right, guys. So the game's going to start in about, 10, 15 minutes or so. So, again, Kodai Senga against Christopher Sanchez. The Mets are 69-61, 7 games out of the division. But, hey, the only way to get things done now is to win, right? You don't have to worry. You don't have to scoreboard watch. You don't have to worry about who the Phillies are playing. They're playing us. You beat them, you gain a full game. You beat them again, you gain another full game. You beat them again, another full game. And then we'll be 4 games out with 29 to go. That's what I want. I want that. I want to show the Phillies that it's not over yet. I want this team to wake up and play angry. Play like you care. And that's a strong word because I know they care, but play like you deserve to win. It feels like they feel like they're playing to lose. Like they're hoping something doesn't go wrong. Play to win. You play to win the game. I love that quote. It's a great quote. Great quote. So let's get it done. Kodai Senga on the mound. Christopher Sanchez. The Phillies have been scoring runs, but the Mets have played them decently well this year. They're 4-2 in the season series so far. And again, we got 7 games to go with them, guys. If this division somehow gets close, you want to have that tiebreaker. That's another thing that we haven't talked about in this show, and I apologize for that. But if we get closer to this division, the tiebreaker could matter. And that's where you want to try to have a handle on, just in case you get close to this division, because the tiebreaker could matter. So with that said, guys, there will be no post-game tonight, unfortunately, but enjoy the game. Let's go Mets, and I'll see you tomorrow on the pregame show, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy the game, and let's go Mets, guys.
Seven train rumble, headed to the field. Orange and blue vibes, the energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, repping both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire misunderstood.